Hey there, my name's Niandra, and I wanted to give my thoughts on hero pools since it's been a few weeks now. To start this off, I want to say that I do appreciate hero pools giving me the motivation to expand my roster. Baptiste got hit week 1, and as a Mercy player, I realised that if she wasn't working, I would be forced onto Moira for main heals because I couldn't do Anna. I picked up Anna for the first time since Season 4's tank heavy meta, and she's been so much fun to relearn. I was thinking the other day that I definitely wouldn't have taken the time to do this if I hadn't been forced out of my comfort zone. When critiquing something like hero pools, I really want to avoid having the perspective of, oh, it's bad because my favourite hero got banned. But I definitely feel it's been a little rocky so far. I think what would help more than anything is for Blizzard to follow up on their promise to be more aggressive with balancing. I almost want to say that hero pools wouldn't be needed if changes were more frequent. The system was originally implemented to prevent the meta from getting stale, right? Well, without patches, we're seeing the same people get banned, or a sort of rotation meta where we just flip between X and Y each week. You could argue that a rotating meta is better than 6 months of a single dominant comp, and you're right, but both of those problems are solved by more frequent changes. All that being said, I'm going to throw Blizzard some slack here because COVID-19 is no doubt throwing a wrench into things. I was originally then going to say I just wish they would give us a little forum post every now and then to let us know, but we actually got one on r/competitive Overwatch yesterday. There's a link in the description and you should absolutely read it. Personally, I have become really cynical and frustrated towards Blizzard in regards to communication over like the last year or so seeing this was fantastic and I really hope we see more. It was also announced that going forward, hero pools will only be available in Masters and above, rather than in every rank. Personally, I think this was a really fantastic decision to make because often, meta only really stays at the top of the ladder and in the Overwatch League. Mid-ranks like Gold and Plat usually play whatever works, and meta only really trickles down when something is especially dominant and or easy enough to play, like initially reworked Mercy or Double Shield Moira, both of which even spilled into quick play. In future, if mid-ranks aren't going to have hero pools but high ranks are, then Blizzard really needs to act quick if something is especially broken. And how you react to that statement probably says a lot about how much you trust the developers. I've talked a lot in the past about how Blizzard have always tried to cater towards both casual and hardcore/esports players, that they've always wanted Overwatch to be this broad phenomenon with $1 million esports league, merchandise, hero shorts, and so on. I think hero pools might be a good example of these two groups potentially clashing. While we're at it, I'd love to see hero pools flat out removed from competitive open queue because I don't feel they have any place in a game mode that predates them. I've really enjoyed using this mode to practice heroes like Anna, Zarya and so on in a competitive but stress-free environment, plus it doesn't really make sense to restrict a mode based around higher freedom. Looking over the last few weeks, I think hero pools would have felt a lot smoother if character releases hadn't slowed down after role queue and more tanks or healers were available right now. Personally, the DPS bans have largely felt okay since there's so many of them with overlapping or similar enough roles. Looking at supports, Lucio is the only character who can speed boost others, and that has enabled so many compositions throughout Overwatch's history without really feeling oppressive himself. I know it sounds pretty biased to say, hey, hero bans work for the role I don't play and don't work for the role I do play, but I actually believe that tank has been hit the hardest and it's really hammered home how restrictive that role is. Listen, I don't mean to be dramatic here, and I recognise that with some heroes I am dependent on shields to position, but the game just kinda sucks when Reinhardt gets banned, right? Like, it's not just meh. At the very least, the game has kind of become warped around him. Listen, most ranks just don't have the coordination to run dive, and you could argue that anti-dive heroes like Male Reaper are more forgiving or easier than what they're countering. Plus, since most tanks rely on some form of synergy with each other, heroes like Zarya are also a lot less desired when Rein gets banned. This means many players are potentially left with double shield, a composition that not a whole lot of people seem to enjoy, or double off tank, which can work but often feels janky. I just feel like discouraging people from queuing tank is probably one of the worst things you could do with Overwatch right now because it's a role that already struggles with population issues. I remember a lot of players feeling almost gleeful when the ban system was announced, that it would be the end of one-tricking, and it's not really been the case. Keep in mind, SR decay hasn't been re-implemented, which means there's nothing stopping you from just taking the week off from competitive when your favourite hero gets banned. In fact, I think you could argue that it almost hurts flex players more than pure one-tricks by reducing their options. Going back to the Baptiste ban, I remember having a couple of matches thinking, man, I wish I had access to Immortality Field here. With the system going forward, I do wonder if smurfing will increase, especially in weeks where, like, I don't know, Widow get banned, but it's a bit hard to gauge until the changes go through. Although I have focused on the negatives, I don't hate hero pools, but to me the system has felt like a band-aid fix so far. I absolutely commend Blizzard for acting pretty quickly in regards to the functionality of hero pools, but also hope they extend the same branch to hero balancing as well. In the past, we've had metas like Moth, Mercy, and Goats run rampant for months. If Blizzard is going to be slow to tackle problematic characters, then hero pools are absolutely better than nothing, but I trust that Blizzard can aim higher than that. Again, I recognise that there's a lot of scary shit going on in the real world, and that takes priorities over my feelings about a video game, but just keep in mind it is my job to talk about this video game. I do wonder if hero pools should have just been saved for Overwatch 2 when we get a dump in new heroes and the number disparity is evened out a little bit. Maybe then they could even feel a lot better at mid-ranks that will no longer have to deal with this system. Anyway, that's all from me. Thank you for watching this short little video about hero pools and stuff. Yeah, thank you so much for watching. Feel free to check out my Patreon and have a nice day.